Hi, welcome to Healing Tunes. Please watch the video. Today, we are discussing the neuroanatomy cellular organization. Last session, we discussed about introduction of neuroanatomy. Then today, we are discussing the cellular organization of the nervous system. The highly specialized and complex nervous system consists of only two principal categories of cells: neurons and neuroglia or glial cells. Neurons, from the basic structural and functional unit of the nervous system, they are excitable cells which are specialized for reception of stimuli and conduction of nerve impulses. They are specialized for reception, integration, interpretation, and onward transmission of information. They conduct nerve impulses over long distances at great speed. The nervous system consists of vast number of neurons. Then structure of neurons. A typical neuron consists of three principal components. First one is cell body, then dendrites and axon. The cell body is a enlarged portion of the neuron. It consists of a mass of cytoplasm surrounded by a plasma membrane. The cytoplasm contains a single, relatively large and centrally located nucleus with prominent nucleus. Then second part is the dermatitis. Sorry, dendrites. Dendrites are highly branched short tempering process which either end in the specialized sensory receptors as in primary sensory neuron or form synapses with neighboring neurons from which they are receive stimuli. Then next is the axon. The axon arises from the cone shaped portion of the cell body called axon hillock. The axon extends as a cylindrical process of uniform diameter of variable length and terminating on other neurons or effector organs by the variable number of small branches of and in small swelling called terminal bondus or presynaptic terminals. Then next is type of neurons. Neurons are classified into anatomical classification. That's mainly three types. First is pseudo unipolar neuron, second is bipolar neuron, then multipolar neuron. First, pseudo unipolar neurons. These neurons possess oval or rounded cell body. A single process emerges from the cell body and after a short convoluted course bifurcation and T junction into the peripheral and central process. Then second is the bipolar neurons. They possess spindle shaped cell body from each end of which a single neurite emerges. Thus, bipolar neurons have two processes. Then, third one is multipolar neurons. These multipolar neuron cells body from which emerges several dendrites and a single axon. Most of the neurons in the body, especially those CNS, belong to this category. For example, all the motor neurons that control skeletal muscles are multipolar neurons. Then next classification according to length of axons and dendrites. First one is Golgi type 1 neuron. These neurons have long axons that may be 1 meter long in extreme cases and connect different parts of the nervous system. The axon of these neurons form the length fiber tracts of the brain and spinal cord and the nerve fibers of the peripheral nerves. The pyramidal cells of the cerebral cortex of the cerebrum and motor anterior horn cell of the spinal cord are Golgi type 1 neurons. Then second is the Golgi type 2 neurons. Axon of these neurons are short and morphologically similar to that of dendrites. This gives these cells a star-shaped appearance. They establish synaptic contacts with large number of neurons in their neighborhood. Next classification is functional classification. Then these is main two categories: sensory neurons and motor neurons. Sensory neurons they carry impulses from these receptors organs to the CNS. Motor neurons they transmit impulses from the CNS to the muscles and glands. The cell bodies of these neurons lie within the CNS, central nervous system, except those of postganglionic neurons of the autonomic nervous system. Then, sensory neurons again classified in three types: primary sensory neuron, secondary sensory neuron, and tertiary sensory neuron. Primary sensory neuron, the cell bodies of these neurons lie outside the CNS except those of mesencephalic nucleus of fifth cranial nerve which lie within the CNS. The next is secondary sensory neurons. The cell bodies of these neurons lie in the CNS. Third one is tertiary sensory neuron. The cell bodies of
Please
this
subscribe the channel,
neuron lie in the
like the video,
thalamus.
and share it.
Next, motor neurons again classified into
Thank you for
somatic nervous
watching our
system
channel.
and autonomic nervous system. Somatic nervous system they are divided into two types: upper motor neuron and lower motor neuron. Upper motor neurons have their cell bodies located in the cerebral hemisphere, motor area of the cerebral cortex. They form the descending pathways of the brain and synapse with the motor neurons of the cranial nerve nuclei in brainstem and motor neurons of the spinal nerves in the anterior horn of the spinal cord. The upper motor neuron are involved in the voluntary control of muscular activity. Then second is lower motor neurons. These cells body located in the brainstem and spinal cord. Then next is the autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system again divided into two: preganglionic neurons and postganglionic neurons. Preganglionic neurons, the cell bodies of these neurons lie in the brain and spinal cord. Postganglionic neurons, the cell body of these neurons lie outside the central nervous system in lateral, collateral, and terminal autonomic ganglia. Then next is the neuroglia or glial cells. These are supportive cells that support the neuron both structurally and functionally. In central nervous system, the number of neuroglia is 5 times more than that of neurons and account for more than half of the weight of the brain. Then neuroglia in the central nervous system. These are four main types of neuroglia or glial cells in the central nervous system are astrocytes. Then second is the epidermal cells. Third one is oligodendrocytes. Fourth one is microglia. Then first is astrocytes are the largest and most numerous and form the main supporting tissue of the nervous system. They are star shaped as the name implies and possess many fine dendrite like process. Then second is the ependymal cells. This line the ventricle of the brain and central canal of the spinal cord. Third one is oligodendrocytes. These are smaller than astrocytes and, as the name implies, have fewer process. They are found in clusters around the neurons of gray matter and adjacent to the along length of myelinated nerve fibers in white matter. Fourth one is microglia. These are the smallest of the glial cells and are capable of migrating through the surrounding neural tissue. Then next is neuroglia in the peripheral nervous system. There are two type of glial cells in the peripheral nervous system, that is satellite cells and Schwann cells. Satellite cells surround the nerve cell bodies in the peripheral ganglia and provide support and nutrition to them. Second is Schwann cell. Form myelin sheath around axon in the peripheral nervous system. It important to note that Schwann cell form neuralgia around all axons in peripheral nervous system, whether they are unmyelinated or myelinated. Then next is the synaptic transmission. In the nervous system, information move from one location to another in the form of action potential. An action potential traveling along an axon is called nerve impulse. The nerve impulse is akin to a tiny electrical charge and form the physiological unit of the nervous system. There is always more than one neuron involved in the transmission of a nerve impulse from its origin to its destination, whether it is sensory or motor. The neurons form long chain along which impulses are conducted. These are about the neuroanatomy, cellular organization details. Next class, we will discussing about central nervous system and overview.
Please subscribe the channel, like the video, and share it. Thank you for watching our channel.